Once more, you are welcome back to my channel. The Fulanis have finally reported themselves to the office of Donald Trump. This after the insecurity in Nigeria refused to end, and as you have it, it was reported that the man leading the alleged Christian genocide in Nigeria, talking about U.S. Congressman Raleigh Moore, is pushing to press it on the President of America to divide Nigeria into two. I want to say that the way it is, that even Nigerians have been yearning for good governance and an atmosphere that is devoid of insecurity, particularly terrorism. And Nigerians have even been telling the President, Senator Ahmed Bola Tinubu, that if the Fulanis are not ready to allow him govern Nigeria in peace without terrorism, that he should do the needful to allow the people go their separate ways by using his good office to do that. But let me quickly say that even by providence, God himself never created Nigeria as one country. This is not far-fetched. Because if you look at the natural unifying factor of language, you discover that by providence, God gave the Hausas their own different language, gave the Igbos their own different language, gave the Yorubas their own different language. However, if the people wanted to live together, to come together under one entity, it is not out of place, but not what we have currently, that is like coercion. A situation where the Fulanis are disturbing every part of the country through terrorism. And every attempt to address it has always been resisted by the allies in the north. But I want to say that if dividing the country will save life of citizens, that is a work of development. Because for me, there's nothing wrong in even going to true federalism. A situation where you divide the country into perhaps 6 geographical zones. And each of the zones should be, of course, independent to a large extent. To the extent of resource control, to the extent of even security management. Because I want to say that what we have currently is not encouraging. A situation where you see some state governors will be openly negotiating with terrorists. Because what we are hearing from Katsina State currently, I must say, is not a work of development. A situation where, as we speak, the Katsina State government is at the verge of releasing about 70 arrested terrorists who are in custody. But if you watch your screen, you see news relating to the issue of Raleigh Moore making the move to advise Donald Trump on the issue of the two-state solution to Nigeria situation. Because I always say it, that when it comes to this issue of terrorism, as it has to do with Fulani militias, that we are fighting a very formidable force. Because this is a group that was bold enough to attack a sitting governor. Talking about Samuel Otom as the governor of Benue State. I cannot forget in a hurry how there was an assassination attempt on him. And before I knew it, a group came up to say, with our Fulani nationality movement, we did it. They even boasted that the man was lucky, that next time he will not be that lucky. So for me, when you are dealing with a group like this, you must know that we need every might it deserves to handle it. For me, if dividing the country into two is the solution to ending this insecurity, I want to say it's not a bad idea. However, let this conversation be robust to the extent that let us see the buy-in of all the interest groups of every ethnicity in the country as to where they want to belong. Because for me, the issue of sovereignty should involve every interest to have their own buy-in. Because come to think of it, even the Britain that often rejects the division of Nigeria. Because I can remember that recently when even Sunday Igboho went to the office of the Prime Minister of UK to submit letter demanding for Oduduwa Nation. The British High Commission in Nigeria was even advising Sunday Igboho to go and join her with other Nigerians to build Nigeria and to move Nigeria forward. But the question people refuse to ask is, when Britain needed to exit European Union, Nobody advised them to join hands with other member European Union countries to move European Union forward. What actually transpired was that the minority had their say, while majority had their way. And as to have it, they have successfully exited the European Union. So in the same vein, if people are coming forward to say we are no longer interested in this entity called Nigeria, so long as they are doing it within the ambits of the law, they are not going about it through violence, I don't think they would have offended any known law, both locally and internationally. Because what is important is that the people should determine how they want to be governed. Because if not for any other thing, this issue of terrorism that refuses to go, that is persisting, is a worrisome trend. A situation where even if federal government have come up with the idea of community-based policing system or forest guard, you see most of these states that are heavily ravaged by insecurity refusing to key into it. Because I will ask question, why is it that a state like Zamfara, Katsina, Benue, Plateau, Kwara, that are heavily ravaged by this insecurity occasioned by Fulani militias, why are they not jumping at this opportunity of forest guard with the speed of light? Because I want to say that from all people's intent, that Mr. President Senator Abiola Tinubu have seen that he has some level of sincerity in all of this. Because this is a president who have come out clearly to charge the National Security Advisor, go and recruit more forest guard and them to address this insecurity. And we can clearly see evidence of the operation of forest guard in Kogi State, the success they are recording. We can clearly see evidence from, of course, Enugu State. So I begin to ask, why are these states that are heavily ravaged by this insecurity occasioned by Fulani militias not jumping at this opportunity of forest guard? I recall that it was the Director General of DSS, Ajayi, who chronicled and brought the idea of empowering the communities to be the first line of defense in case of invasion before Mr. President buy into it. And for me, it's a welcome idea because it have agreed and proven that all crime is local. And if all crime is local, the intelligence to deal with it rests with the local. And as we have it, I keep saying it, that when the military base was compromised, that if there were adequate intelligence, collaboration, synergy between the locals and the military, that perhaps the locals could have gotten wind of the movement of the terrorists before they got to that military base when it was compromised. And they could have given such intelligence to the relevant security agencies to nip that unfortunate incident in the bud. But holistically speaking, if it is not, this union is not working out, I want to say that we can come to a round table to redefine how we want to be existing and to redefine and decide whether we want to go our separate ways through dialogue, through agreement. Because if we are dividing, there's nothing saying that each of the countries that come out of the entity called Nigeria will not coexist in terms of trade and investment, in terms of other bilateral relations. So that is why parting ways through dialogue on the round table is the way to go if there's need for that. Because currently, I must say that if the Fulanis are not ready to allow peace a chance through this terrorism, the President Senator Abiola Tinubu should use his good office to summon a conference, sovereign national conference, national discourse, where the issue of Nigeria could be discussed, and let us see how it pans out. But I must say very thank you for your time. Until I come your way next time.